Hello everybody, happy Friday. Hope everyone has had a lovely week, is ready for a nice lesson before we get to the weekend. I have had a very fun week of following the market. Finally, we get to see some green numbers in the market again. It's been a long downward trend in the market, so having a nice up week is always nice, and ending it on a high note is also very good. So, today, I want to end our week on a very high note because I've gotten a lot of questions from many of you asking, what website do you recommend to learn about options? What website do you recommend to learn about mutual funds? What website? Today, I want to answer all of those questions. I've put together a list of all of the resources that I know of and that I use, be it for researching stocks, researching sectors or ETFs, or if I want to go and learn something new, where I go to look for new information to learn about, and just a little bit more. So that's what I want to cover today with you all. I want to go through my list of resources, the websites that I find useful, and I hope you would find useful as well. We'll walk through them a little bit. I'll show you some of the main features, and we can go from there. So, before we go anywhere, I want to say hello to everyone we have with us today. Hello, Blaze, Elena, Jesus, welcome from Salt Lake City, Juan, Ernestina, Rosa, Lupe, Emelida, Josefina, Delia, Vero, Elizabeth, Andrew, Eddie, Pablo, Erika, Lucia, WC, and Anna. Good to see you all. Lucia is asking a question, just curious, do you trade every day? I look every day to see how my stocks are doing, but typically what I will do is I will do research twice a week. So I will go through and find a list of companies that I want to keep an eye on, be it for a trade opportunity of buying it quickly and then selling it later on, or if I want to look at something to buy and hold it a little bit longer term. But typically, I'll look every day because the market changes every day. But because I like owning about 15 to, and this is all my opinion, by the way. How you invest is always up to you. But in my opinion, I always try and invest about 10 to 20% of my portfolio in any specific stock. Reason is, my time is worth something to me. I want to make it where if I'm going to go through and find the stocks that I think are good stocks, I'm going to track it. I want that money or that time to be worth money. So I want to invest enough in it that it's worth my time, but I want to invest little enough that I can still invest in multiple things. Right now, I own 5 different companies in my trading portfolio. So I like to be able to move around money and move around what I own in a nice way. So 5 stocks with about 20% per stock is the way that I like investing. It gives me enough spread while still giving me enough focus where I don't only have, say, 5% of my portfolio to throw at an investment. I can choose anywhere from 5 to 20%, but that investment is still enough to really account for my time. So, hopefully that answers your question. Hello, Mom. Good to see you. Alrighty. So, today's topic again is going to be going through my list of resources, what I use, and what I would recommend taking a look at. Of course, what you find most useful is always up to you. So please, everything I'm sharing today is my opinion and the resources that I know about. If there are other resources that you know of or that you would recommend, feel free to put them in chat. I want today to not be so much me talking to you, but I want to have it be a conversation. I'll be keeping an eye on the chat. So if you have any questions or recommendations, please put them over there and we can have an awesome conversation. So let's get to it, shall we? I'm going to hop over here to my desktop and we can start going through the list of resources that I have. The first thing that I get a lot of questions about is I want to start investing. I want to start creating my trading strategy, but I'm worried. I don't want to lose money. Or I don't have the money to actively start investing a lot into. So how do you get started? Especially, for example, if you're under 18, you don't own a brokerage account, how can you still practice what we learn here and take that knowledge and turn it into returns? The beautiful thing about a lot of this knowledge is you can learn it at an early age and then carry that knowledge to adulthood, and what you learn with a little bit of money or even fake money can still apply to the real world and a real portfolio. So how do you get started when you don't have a portfolio to start with? There are two websites that I recommend using for paper trading or fake money portfolios. The first one is Investopedia's stock market game. My history with stock market game goes back over 10 years, where when I was 12, I entered into a stock market competition in my school, and we used the stock market game. So this is a website that has been around more than half of my life, and 13 years ago, I got to use stock market game as my first introduction into actively investing. So I'm very happy to say that it is still around, and it has been bought by the education website Investopedia. It is an amazing resource. It is not pretty. It doesn't have its makeup all done, but it is very friendly to use. There's no ads everywhere. There's no craziness going on. It's very, very basic, but it gets the job done. So with the stock market game, you can create a $100,000 portfolio to start investing with. The one downside to the stock market game is that you need to create a competition. Now, the competition doesn't need to have an end, but it can if you want to. But what you can do is you can go and create your own game by going to right here, create a custom game now, and I will put the link for this in chat. Okay, awesome. I just wanted like the specific one in case it's a little difficult to get to this specific page. But you can either join a competition that they have. For example, this no end one is, well, no end. You can invest as long as you want in it, and you can invest in stocks, you can short sell, you can buy options, and there's no limit to how long this competition goes on. So you don't have to worry about it being your magic pumpkin where your carriage will turn back into a pumpkin at midnight. So this is a great way of getting started investing. Again, it's not pretty, but there's very few, if any, ads, and it is all about giving you a way of learning. So that's the first one. The second one that I personally used for a very long time after I finished the stock market game is how the market works. How the market works is a little bit more on the ad-filled side. If I turn off my ad blocker here, we can see that. There's going to be a little bit more ads, and they've got to make their money somewhere. But how the market works is a much more user-friendly way of doing things. They have a really nice system to see when you're doing a purchase. You can see the historical stock price, the bid and ask prices. It's a little bit prettier. So this website is fantastic. It is very easy to create your own competition, and it's also completely free to use. In addition, they do have quite a bit of education over here in the Education Center if you want to use some of those articles to help you learn a little bit. So if you want pretty and you don't mind having a couple of ads, or if you use an ad blocker, you can use how the market works. If, for example, you don't need all the pretty stuff, you just want $100,000 cash to start investing with, I think we'd all like $100,000. But if you want a fake money portfolio with none of the pretty stuff, but all of the numbers, Investopedia is the one I'd recommend. So, how the market works, and we have Investopedia. So, those are the two those are the two fake money portfolio websites I recommend. I'm sure there's many others out there, so if you don't like either of these, I'm sure there's a couple more that you can find. Blaze is saying, everyone please download an ad blocker. I will not recommend. It is, people have to make their revenue somewhere. A lot of websites, the reason they're free is because of the ads. But because I share content, and it's for educational purposes, I use an ad blocker just so I don't have to deal with the pop-ups and all of that. But let's move right along. Oh, is it true that in these simulators there are not all the tools or indicators that are used in a real account? So a lot of these fake money portfolios, one of the things that they will do is there's no commissions, there's no fees. But for example, if we go to the stock market game, you can see here that there is commissions. There is interest. So these websites that I'm showing will specifically allow you, or you can forget them and you can just wipe them out, but they will have limits. I remember when I used how the market works way back when, there was absolutely no rules. I could do whatever I wanted. So I made about 1,000,000% return on a portfolio because all I did was buy and sell a penny stock over and over and over and over. In reality, you can't really do that. So Investopedia and how the market works will give you options to add commissions or add fees to make it more realistic. The whole point of these is to make it realistic. So they will give you the tools to do so. But if you don't want that, if you just want to think about it, no frills, no taxes. I bet we'd love to trade with no taxes. But if you want to make it easy, you can. And one of the other cool things that Investopedia does is diversification. Going back to the question that someone asked me, how do you trade? Diversification is exactly that. It will require you to invest in multiple companies. For example, in this competition, you can only invest a maximum of half or 50% of your portfolio in any one stock. Don't put your eggs in one basket is a real thing. So this diversification will help you do that. But if you make your own competition, you can set the commissions, you can set the interest, and you can also set the diversification. So those are the two trading platforms for fake money. For real brokerage accounts, I'm not going to get into that today. There is far too many things that go into that. How much you're investing, how often you're investing, if you need a margin account. That is something that is a topic in of itself and is not one that I really want to get into today. So for today, I just want to share these two fake money portfolio ones. And if you're asking about a real brokerage account, I recommend that you do that research for yourself because it is very much going to be dependent on who you are and how you want to invest. So let's now move on to a little bit more of the research side of things. ETFdbcom is one of the two websites that I go to when I want to look up an ETF. It is an amazing tool because it has an ETF screener, which will allow you to choose different ETFs in different asset classes. It will also allow you to say who issues it. If, for example, you want to go see all of the State Street Spider ETFs, you can. So here's all your XLs, but they also have other ones like SPY, gold, so on and so forth. If we click into any of these ETFs, it provides an incredible amount of information. Some stuff that you may not care much about, like when it was created, but other things that you would care about, like the expense ratio. How much do they charge you? What kind of tax form do they give you? Then also their price information. Also, if you're a nerd like me and you want to see what they're investing in, the holdings is a great resource. It shows you exactly what this ETF is holding and what percent of its portfolio is that company. The other thing that it does is it has a really nice breakout of what the different fees are. If you find one that charges you a little bit more than you may like, you can click here on rank, which will now give you the list of all of the different ETFs that are similar and what their expense ratios are. So ETFdbcom is a great way of screening for ETFs if you know what type you want, or you can start off by researching an ETF that you already know about to see what companies they're trading. Often, I will look at the matrix and I will see XLE is up 3%. Then I will go to ETFdbcom and look at their holdings to see how are they doing. Josefina is asking, Jonathan, when you buy a stock, do you put a 10% trailing or a stop limit? For a long investment, one that I'm just holding because I like the company, I would set a 10% trailing stop. So I don't have to think about it as much. If I'm looking for a little bit more of a swing investment where I'm buying it for short-term momentum, I may set a much smaller one where I can accept 3% risk or something like that. Usually when I'm doing that, I'll be looking for a double bottom breakdown, the sell signal, and I will set my stop loss at that sell signal. But there's no best answer. 10% is a really good number because it's enough where a bad day is not going to cause a sell-off. But if 10% risk is okay with you, that's a great line. But everyone's risk tolerance, how much risk they are okay with, is different. I hate risk. So I may set a smaller trailing stop. But if I don't have a specific trailing stop in mind or a specific stop loss in mind, I'll set 10% from the previous high. It's enough where if it goes up, it protects some of my gains while protecting me from losses. All right. So again, ETFdb is a great resource because it lets you screen a bunch of different ETFs. It's a really good way of seeing what companies these ETFs hold and the fees that they charge you. But what if you, as my mom says, I hate risk. I really do. My least favorite place in the world is Vegas. I like the pools, but that's about it. So, what if now you find the ETF of your dreams, but you want to still see who else is out there? That's where I go to ETF.com. ETF.com has an amazing resource that ETFdb doesn't have, where, let's go here to SPY. Blaze, you're not old enough for casinos. You're not missing out on anything, I promise you that. So the beauty of what we have with ETF.com is when you type in an ETF, yes, it gives you a description. Yes, it gives you the valuation. And yes, it will show you the holdings. But what this website does that ETFdb doesn't And the reason I like this website so much is popular comparisons. The ability to look at two different ETFs side by side and see where one is better than the other or where they're just different. So let's do this. Let's go and compare SPY versus the QQQ. Here we see who issues them, State Street Global Advisors, SPDR, and here we have Invesco. How much do they charge you? Invesco charges you about double. How much do they manage? About triple for SPY. And what do they track? Here we see that SPY tracks, well, the S&P 500. And here we see that QQQ tracks the NASDAQ 100. So this is a really easy and good way to compare two different sectors and two different ETFs to see where one is above the other. And for some of the comparisons, like if we do SPY versus VOO, which is Vanguard's S&P 500, did they get rid of the returns? They got rid of the returns. They used to offer a great view of the returns of both of these ETFs. But we can settle for this because it still gives us a really good amount of information. Who issues it, how much they charge you, and what they track. From there, any further research can be done by clicking on the ETF itself or by typing in that other name to ETFdbcom. So again, hello Mario, good to see you. So ETFdbcom is my go-to for comparing two ETFs, for researching one ETF or seeing what they are holding. I tend to go to ETFdbcom. Alrighty, moving right along, let's go over to a website that everybody here should be familiar with, and one that I'm going to talk about for a couple of minutes here, because there's lots of good stuff. Stockcharts.com is the only place, only with an asterisk, and I'll go into that in a moment, the only place that I go to for charts. They offer sharp charts, which is like your normal thing. It is your normal charting with candlestick or bar or there's tons of different types of charts. So you find the chart that you like. Plus, they have overlays and indicators, which are amazing resources for seeing the price changes over time or important numbers or changes in the stock price. If you're interested to learn more about these, we do have a webinar on overlays and indicators called Technical Analysis Signals. I believe that's a members webinar. So if you're interested to learn more about that, I recommend taking a look at that webinar where I go into MACD, moving average, and more. If you don't have a subscription, the technical versus fundamental analysis video, I also cover some of these more common but also very useful signals like moving average. So members and non-members can find their information in those webinars. But this is the line and bar chart kind of things. What Stock Charts has that very few places do is my favorite type of chart, which is the point and figure. I have talked so much about why point and figure is an amazing type of chart that I'm not going to bore you with the details, but everyone here should already be familiar with what they look like and how you use them. If you are not familiar, I recommend taking a look at some of our point and figure basics webinars that we offered at the beginning of all of Sectors Made Simple. Those are available to everybody. So this is my bread and butter. If I want to look at how a stock is doing, I will look here. And the cool thing about what I was saying before when someone was asking me how I set my trailing stop, let's go and look at Oh, let's go look at a better chart than that. What do you think, Kira? What chart should I pull up? Any suggestions? I can't think of any right now.
Apple?
Yeah, let's go Apple. Nah. I want something in a column of X's. Give me a column of X's. All right, here.
GameStop.
Here, let's... GameStop is not in a column of X's. It is a seesaw. We're going to use technology. So, someone was asking how I set my trailing stop. If I wanted to set a trailing stop for this, or a stop loss for this, this is not a recommendation. This is only an example. What I may do is I would look at this and say the double bottom is right here at 126. So I would set my stop loss at $126. That is $5 difference, so less than 4% risk. But I'm hoping that the price would continue to go up. So that's a very, very quick and easy example of how point and figure can be very quickly used to create a stop loss. But that's not all. Stock charts also has an amazing thing called Predefined Scans over on the right-hand side. If you ever want to find companies that are on a buy signal, sell signal, or if you just want examples, you can go here to Predefined Scans and under point and figure patterns. We can see all of the I was about to lose my headset. All of the companies that are on a double top breakout, triple top breakout, double bottom breakout, triple bottom, so on and so forth. So this is a great way of finding our double top breakouts, where if we click in, it will give us a list of all of the double top signals that are currently in stock charts. So when you're looking for possibilities, this is a really cool way of getting to see not just what the signals are, but where the signals are. Be it in the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, so on and so forth. The last thing I want to show you on stock charts is, really? You're going to do this to me now. Under charts and tools, the candle glance section has a lot of good predefined groups. The ones that I use the most are the S&P sector ETFs. This information is also available on the dashboard of the matrix. But also the major bullish percent indexes and sector bullish percent indexes. These will tell us what percent of companies are on a buy or sell signal in each major market or in each sector of the S&P 500. Keep in mind with these sector bullish percent indexes, if we go here to PNF traditional, these are only for the S&P 500. Members learned about this a little bit more in Tuesday's webinar, but for some of these sectors, there's only 30 companies, even less than 30 companies in that entire sector. So some of these will not have as many companies, which means only 2 companies going on a sell signal will create a reversal. So it's important to keep in mind here that these BPIs are only the S&P 500, not the entire market. Another thing I want to show you is here under charts and tools, we have perf charts. These are also very cool. I'll use sector ETFs as an example. It lets us see over a period of time, and you can double click here to choose the number of days. So let's say the past 90 days. What sectors have done, what their prices have done using the State Street Spider ETFs. We can see energy is up 63%, financials up 24%, utilities down 20, so on and so forth. If bars are not so much your thing and you more like the lines and seeing how these things have actually changed over time, going down here to the bottom left, we can click and show the line charts, where the 0 line, the horizontal middle, is 0. Anything above that line made money. Anything below that line lost money. But what we can also do is up here, we can choose discretionary, for example. And now the 0 line is discretionary. So anything above this middle blue line did better than discretionary. Anything below it did worse than discretionary. So this is a very simple way of being able to not just see how things have done over time, what sectors have made or lost money, but also comparing them to a specific sector to see how they've done relative to that sector. And again, we can take this slider and we can drag it backwards in time. So now we're between December 17th of 2019 and April 27th of 2020. This is an awesome resource for getting to see price changes over time. And if this is too much information and you just want start, end, who made more money, these charts are awesome because if I skip through this, you get to see how the numbers change over time. And for me, I love getting to see stuff like this. It is very, very cool to get to see not just start and end, but how things have moved as time has gone on. Or I guess the other way. Things have moved as time got on. So that is most of stock charts, but I could probably do an entire webinar going through all of the different things stock charts has to offer. The last thing I want to share actually is one more thing. Relative strength charts. Because this is great. This is a comparison of all the different sectors all at once. But what if you just want to compare two things? What we can do here is we can go and we can compare SPY ... and then what we want to compare it to. XLK. So if I were to translate this into human language, it would be SPY, how SPY has done compared to technology. So, Wakataki. Here we see a point and figure chart like we would have seen before. But what we have now is not a price. There is no thing that is $300. What this is the price of SPY compared to the price of technology. Again, this is not, there is no thing that you can go buy that's $300 and is this chart. What this is showing us is how the price of SPY is doing compared to technology. If it's in a column of O's, SPY is doing worse than technology is right now. If it is in a sell signal, it is doing worse long term. So X or O is short term strength. X means the thing on the left is doing better than the thing on the right. And a buy or sell signal means that it's the thing on the left is doing better than the thing on the right long term. So if I were to read this, I would see we are in a column of O's right now, but our most recent signal was a double top breakout right here. So this would end up being, let's use a darker color, positive long term. Oh wait. Why are you doing this? Okay. it's going to be difficult. Positive long-term trend, but negative short-term direction is how I would read this chart. This is how we build the matrix. Everyone here, hopefully, has seen the matrix and what it looks like. But if you're not familiar, let me quickly show you. This is what we do here at Sectors Made Simple. Besides teach you about investment topics, we try and give you up-to-date information on all of these what are called relative strengths, where here we see SPY, column of O's, versus XLK, SPY compared to XLK. So this chart is one of 132 that we do every single day. So it is a very great resource for taking charts like this and giving you access to that knowledge instantly. So I wanted to show you what you can do though if you don't have a Sectors Made Simple subscription, but you want to get some of this information yourself. We will never tell you that this is the only place you can get it is with us. I want to show you how you could do it yourself and then offer something that makes it easier and simpler for you and slightly faster. You don't need to do 132 charts a day. We do it for you. So that is what we get with stock charts. Let's move right along now to Finance Yahoo. Now, I just talked about how stock charts is my go-to 99% of the time for stock stuff and for looking at charts. But Finance Yahoo has two things that I find very useful that stock charts does not. One is they have VIX. For some reason, stock charts does not have volatility. So when I want to find the volatility index of the market, ticker symbol VIX, I go to Finance Yahoo. In addition, if I click over here on chart, or if I clicked on full screen, I then get a chart that I can hover over a point and see that exact price on that day or in that moment. So it's a very useful way of seeing point in time prices or changes. So that's about the end of that. Moving right along, fundamentals, company values, and some of their technicals. This is an incredible resource for any kind of analysis. If you're doing Be a Profit, or if you're just looking for strong companies, FinViz is the place to go. If we type in a company here, you get a basic chart, but in addition, you get all of their fundamentals. You get return on equity, you get earnings per share quarter over quarter, you get when their earnings are, you get their beta, which is how their price changes compared to the market. It's an incredible amount of knowledge. Also, you get big news. They look at a lot of very reputable financial websites and articles and what they're talking about. And when there's big news, they will tell you what the change after that news was. This is Apple, so people talk about Apple a lot. But let's go to one that may not have as much conversation. Right here, add these 4 GARP stocks to your portfolio for maximum returns. After this article published, it went up by 10%. So this is a great way of knowing not just the company, but what that company's made of and the news or conversations around that company. The other great thing that FinViz does is it has a stock screener. If you have if you have technical or fundamental numbers that you're looking for, beta, earnings per share, anything like that, this is an amazing resource to be able to find companies that meet your requirements. Members of Sectors Made Simple should be plenty familiar with FinViz because I've talked quite a bit about how to use FinViz and be a profit as a way of finding leading companies. And that is something that I don't just tell you guys about. That is something that I actively do as part of my investment strategy. I run a FinViz screener and I look at the top 2 to 3 sectors and find companies in those sectors that have strong fundamentals and technicals. And then I look at those to see which ones have prices that I like. So FinViz is an amazing first step or last step in creating a list of companies or a watch list that you can keep an eye on. You can create a free account here to save your screen. So instead of having to go through and create it every time, you log in and it's always ready for you. That is FinViz. Next on the list is the educational section. I want to talk about where you go to learn more. If you want to learn about stocks and stock investing information, if you want to learn about options, I want to share with you all my education resources. So let's look at those. The first one is optionistics.com. This website is where I go when I want to look at an options chain. The options chain is the prices for different options. Where if I go here and I type in, let's go Apple, and click on option chain, we can see the price for different options. When the option expires, if it's for a call, which is a buy option, or put for a sell option, and the price and for what you can buy or sell that stock at. Members should know that options is not something that is a one-day topic. It is a crazy deep topic that is not one I can get into today. But if you ever want to look at options prices, this is the place to go. And if you want to learn more about options, if you want to educate yourself, Option Alpha is an amazing website to learn more about options. It is a website that Nate recommended to me and that I want to recommend to you. It is free. Their way of making money is that you can subscribe to see to literally see their portfolio, to see what options they are buying and selling. But all of their education stuff is completely free to access and is all videos that you can go and watch. You do need to make a free account, but all of the things are available for free, and they have different tracks depending on your level of knowledge and where you want to go to. Beginner, intermediate, or advanced. So, Optionistics is for the options chain, the prices of options. Option Alpha is a great resource for finding knowledge, for teaching yourself about options. Now, what if you don't like ETFs? What if you don't like stocks? What if you're more of the mutual fund kind of person? There's a book I can recommend on mutual funds called Fund Your Future by this, I don't know if you would know this author, but her name is Julie Stav, and she's written a couple of pretty good books about finance. But Fund Your Future is a book all about mutual funds, what they are, why they're good. But if you want to research and find mutual funds for you, Morningstar.com is an amazing resource for finding mutual funds. You can look here at different kinds of mutual funds, or you can go here and you can search for a mutual fund. A lot of information is locked behind a paid subscription, so I'm not going to go too far into this right now. But Morningstar is the go-to resource for finding mutual fund information, limited as it is. So if you're ever curious about them, Morningstar is a great place to start that search. Moving along, I'm going to go now into the learning stuff, how you learn more about investing. An amazing resource brings us back here to stockcharts.com. Chart School, school.stockcharts.com is the place to go if you want to learn about different topics. Say you want to learn about market indicators, like bullish percent. Here you go. Here's an entire article on bullish percent. Say you want to learn about, do they have percent above moving average? No. Volatility indices. Here you go. Like the VIX that we were talking about before. Here is where you find that. So Chart School is an amazing resource when it comes to wanting to learn more about a specific topic. These are going to be about topics, subjects, or things that you can use to invest. If there's one word that you're not familiar with, if there's a term that you don't know, my recommendation is Investopedia. This is the same website that Stock Market Game is from. But if you want to learn what the word options means, you can go here and they have definitions. And anything that is in blue is another page, so you can go learn about that. And my favorite part about Investopedia is if you're not much further reading all the details, key takeaways is a great thing to look at because it tells you, I don't have time, just tell me what I need to know and why I should care. Key takeaways does exactly that. It makes it easy to find the information you care about without having to read through or watch a bunch of videos. So if there's ever one word or two words that you don't know, Investopedia is an awesome place to go and find answers to what those terms are. Now, I talked a little bit about company fundamentals, but what if you don't like reading FinViz? What if you want to go look for yourself? But there's also other filings. It's not just 10Ks and 10Qs. There are other very important filings that the SEC collects. And as an investor, investing in publicly traded companies, all of their filings are public information. The Securities and Exchange Act of 1932, I believe, established the SEC and instituted their regulations for what they need to provide you. So if we go here to Apple, we have 10Ks and 10Qs, and then 8Ks, which are a little bit more, they're not your usual earnings reports. They're going to be changes in leadership, board changes, elections, votes, things like that will be in this section. So the way to get to this is what's called Edgar. Edgar is their lookup for all of these different SEC filings. Anything the SEC collects is going to be available here for you. Moving along, we have, if you want and like your content in video form, many of you are here for these webinars, so you like video content. Blaze should already be familiar with this, but there is an entire series on YouTube, or on Facebook rather, called From Student to Investor, that my mom, and some of them are done by me as well, put on, that takes someone from knowing nothing about investing, knowing nothing about stocks or anything, to being able to attend a webinar like this and understand what's going on and learn to make stock investments themselves. If you have a friend that does not know about investing, does not know what a stock is, besides the thing that you put on the mantle in Christmas time, From Student to Investor is that resource. It is how many videos? 30 something? 40 hour plus long webinars to teach you all about different subjects. I highly recommend starting from the beginning, and you can listen to them like a podcast if you'd like, but it will teach you everything from stocks to drips to ETFs. And it is all free. You can find it by going to this link right here. Right there is the link. And they are available for free. You can share them with any friends, tell them about what you've learned, or tell them, hey, check this out so we can have fun conversations about stocks. Then, if you can't get enough of my mom's education, or if you prefer your content in Spanish, Julie Stav's YouTube channel has tons of videos, tons of radio shows, tons of pieces of content, all in Spanish. If this is what you want, and if you want your content in Spanish, this is the place to go. There are topics on everything and anything you can imagine. Full hour-length radio shows recorded and available for you however and whenever you'd like. Also, a lot of that same content can be found by going here to, where is the Julie Stav Facebook page? Does that work? It doesn't. There's a Julie Stav Inc. Facebook page. If Kira can find a link for it for me, please. It's going to be a lot of the same content you can find on YouTube, but if you like it on Facebook, or if you like getting updates about the things that Julie is doing, my mom's Facebook page, that is the place to go. It is updated regularly, and it is available to anyone and everyone. Then, the last thing that I want to share is a little bit of self-promotional, but again, we didn't create Sectors Made Simple because we wanted to sell a product. We created Sectors Made Simple because we wanted to create something we wanted and knowledge that we wanted to invest smarter and simpler for ourselves, but no one else has. So that's why we created Sectors Made Simple, and that's why we're here, to give you knowledge that we use, knowledge that we find important, and share with you so that you can hopefully feel the same. So I'm going to talk about some of the resources that Sectors Made Simple has, both for anyone as well as for members. So the first thing is, if you go to sectorsmadesimple.com, under the webinars section, you do not need a subscription for this. You don't even need an account. You can see all of our free webinars. There is over 25 of them at this point. Their topics are listed here, so you can find a topic that you're interested in, and all of the links to watch them are available right here for you. You don't need to pay. You don't even need to give us your email. All you have to do is go to sectorsmadesimple.com/webinars and check out these links below. However, if you purchase a subscription, this webinar page transforms and you get access to two new things. you get access to the members webinars, which here's just a teaser of some of the topics that those cover. These are also going to be education webinars like this one, but are much more about trading strategies or pieces of information that can be used to trade smarter and simpler, or just examples of how others use the matrix. We have webinars with my mom, Julie, as well as other webinars with people like Nate, who's the creator of the matrix, as well as Berta and Mayra, who were some of our early beta testers, talking about how they use it. There are 27, I believe, members webinars like this one, which are an hour long that you can take a look at to learn any variety of topics. Then, what webinar about education would be complete without the Sectors Made Simple matrix, which is our big product that we offer. This updates every single day to tell you what sectors are the short-term and long-term leaders, as well as how those sectors have changed over time. So if we see here, we can compare the current matrix to last week to see that building materials and industrials have gone up, but discretionary has shot up. So all of this and more are available on the matrix on dash.sectorsmadesimple.com. For this, you do need a membership. If you're interested in a membership, I'm sure there's some people that would love to give you an $100 coupon, which I'm sure they will be posting in chat here in a few moments. But right now, we do have a promotion. If you use one of their coupon codes at checkout, you get a $100 discount on your subscription, and they get a free tablet. So everyone wins. There's a coupon code. Looking on, the last thing that I want to show you is another thing that you would get with a Sectors Made Simple subscription. My mom, along with some of her very investor-savvy friends, created a webinar series called Inversores en Sectores. This is 16 videos, all over an hour long, not about education in specific topics, about real investment strategies, real investing with the matrix, showing you how they use the matrix and teaching using the matrix alongside you. I can't say how amazing this webinar series is to learn all about how the matrix can be used to invest, and where the matrix is not the end of your investment search, it's the very beginning, and how informed decisions can be created. This entire webinar series is all in Spanish as well. So again, if Spanish is how you like to get all of your content, yes, there's always Spanish subtitles available on these videos, but Inversores en Sectores is all in Spanish for you to help you use the matrix information to invest. And that brings us to the end. Those are my resources that I use to not just invest myself, but to help teach. I love doing research, and I love getting to take that research and share that with you all. So these are the places that I love to go to learn more about investment, investing strategies, or research into different companies, ETFs, or mutual funds. I saw somebody had a question. Hi, Jonathan. What's the difference between options and day trading? Which one is risky or profitable? Day trading is buying and selling companies in the same day. So buying a company for a swing investment. You buy it low in the hopes that it goes up in the same day. You're not buying it to hold it for weeks. You're buying it and then sitting there watching it like a hawk, waiting for the price to go up. Options is investing in the future. So it's like buying an IOU, where you buy the right, but never the obligation to purchase or sell a stock at a specific price. So for example, say Juan de los Palotes is trading at $100 per share today. I can buy an option for Juan de los Palotes where I pay $5. And what that option gives me is any time between now and next month, I can go and I can buy shares of Juan de los Palotes for $100 per share. Doesn't sound too bad if the stock price goes up, because then you can buy the company for $100 per share and instantly go and sell that stock for more. But what happens if the stock price goes down? Then you let the option expire, and all you lose is the $5 that you spent on the option. So they're different. Day trading requires you to sit there and watch your companies. It is a job. Options is investing in the future. It is predicting stock price and stock direction and hoping that you're smarter than the person that sold you that option. So it's a game of wits almost. Are there any other questions that people have? On the matrix, why do we have to look at 2 weeks ago? You don't have to look at 2 weeks ago. You can look at any point. When we created Sectors Made Simple, we tested 32,000 different investment strategies to find the best ones. And one of the best strategies that we found, the only times you invested was once every 2 weeks. And what you looked at was the 2-week momentum and the current matrix. So the reason that we look at 2 weeks ago is because that's a strategy that has worked really well in the past. Right now, the best strategy is a 1-week strategy, investing, say, every Friday, or every Monday rather, let's say every Monday, and you look at the 1-week momentum. So it really depends on the strategy that you're using and when you invest. If you're only investing once a month, probably looking at the 1-month momentum is the way to go. So match up your trading strategy with, or match up your trading interval, how often you invest, with the momentum chart that makes sense for you. There are lots of coupon codes available for everyone in chat. So if you want a subscription, that's your $100 ticket, your $100 off ticket. So feel free to hop in, grab one of those coupon codes. There is no limit to how many times that coupon code can be used. So all of you can go and grab one coupon code if you want. But if there are no more questions, then this is where I will leave you for the week. I hope all of you learned quite a bit about the different websites and resources and tools that I personally use and that I want to recommend to you all. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned investor that wants to do more analysis, or if you're a beginner that stumbled upon this video because it showed up in your recommended, but I want to give something to everyone, beginners and advanced, to show you all that learning never stops. There's always more to learn. Learning is fun, and that's why we're all here, to learn how to invest smarter, easier, faster, and simpler. So, from me, for Kira, and from everyone else that's involved with Sectors, thank you all for being here. Marta, the membership is 1 year from when you purchase it. So if you bought it today, your subscription would go through March 12th of 2022. And the subscription is $600 a year, but with the coupon, it's $500 for the first year. And with that, you get the dashboard, all of our members' webinars, both past and future. We do these free webinars every Friday. Every Tuesday is the members' webinar, so we'll have one next Tuesday, March 16th. And you get all of the Inversores and Sectores class series, all 16 videos for free as well, or included as well. So that's where I'm going to leave you all. Thank you all so much for joining us today. I hope everyone learned at least one new website that they can now try out or go explore to help make investing simpler for you and everyone else. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you for asking your questions. Thank you all for posting your coupon codes. It's an honor to be able to work to create tools for people that are so involved and active in our community. This is a community, and it is a pleasure to get to work alongside all of you to make investing simpler for you and me and everyone else. Have a great weekend, everyone. Members, we'll see you on Tuesday for our webinar then. Everyone else, I hope to see you all for our webinar live next Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you all very, very soon. Bye, everyone.